I think we're going to lose additional properties on Thursday night.
Winter storms hit across the country this week, leaving a trail of snow, ice, and sleet, when the next round of winter weather could hit the region.
Plus,
this report indicates that inflation trends are worsening.
Inflation is up more than expected for the first month of the year. What this could mean for interest rates.
And in sports, the high school girls postseason is in full swing. A look around the region at this week's games. Newswatch starts right now. We're taking a live look at the remains of yesterday's snow as it turns to slush. Good evening, I'm Donovan Varney.
And I'm Sullivan Beach. Welcome to Newswatch. The snow and ice is clearing up, but can we expect to see more? Forecaster Steve Nedlick has the latest. Steve, what will we be seeing tonight?
We're going to see a little bit of a rain-snow mix tonight as we see those temperatures begin to rise due to a little bit of warm air moving into our area. Taking a look at what caused this last night for us, we had a system move through that brought with it those snowy conditions, and that brought with it that about inch or two of snow, but it also brought with it pretty calm conditions that allowed for it to lay pretty nicely on those trees and allow for us to have a pretty nice scene to wake up to this morning. Now, because of those calm conditions, we did have temperatures stay pretty nicely overnight, so they stayed at about 30 degrees, so it wasn't too chilly. Right now, again, we have that frozen precipitation in the area, but that will continue to turn into rain as we go into the night. As you can see here, we have bits and pieces of it scattered throughout the state, but that will clear up as we head into tomorrow. Again, as for tonight, we're sitting at 39 degrees, and that rain will stay in the area, but look for that trend to continue to warm up and look for that rain to continue to clear out as we move into the weekend.
Thanks, Steve. Southeast Ohio wasn't the only area hit by winter storms this week. Forecasters say back-to-back storms are striking much of the continental U.S. today, and they predict another is on its way. Amy Kiley reports in some areas the results could be devastating.
We're calling it a parade of storms.
Tens of millions of Americans are under weather alerts from 3 storms hitting in a row.
This parade of winter storms is being driven by the upper-level winds known as the jet stream.
Areas from Kentucky to the mid-Atlantic are dealing with inches of snow after the first storm began yesterday. Virginia State Police report hundreds of driving accidents and dozens of injuries.
We're back out putting salt and sand on the bridges and the overpasses.
Officials say ice on utility lines could cause power outages in some areas. It can even make walking treacherous.
Beginning of the year, we bought a whole pallet of salt, and this is our last couple bags we got.
Some in Virginia appear to be enjoying the snow.
This is a great sign for them.
All right, and as we move forward to this next story, forecasters did say for that areas in the south could see more heavy rain and flooding from those first 2 storms. Just be on the lookout for that.
Ohio Senate Bill 1 passed in the Senate despite hundreds gathering to protest the bill at the State House. The bill is set to make major changes to higher education. At yesterday's hearing, activists, faculty, students, and union members testified to the Senate Higher Education Committee. The protests continued through today when the bill was expected to be passed in committee. The bill would get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in Ohio universities and prohibit faculty from striking. Opponents say the bill would be damaging to faculty unions and make higher education less inclusive. And the state government awards Jobs Ohio with a contract renewal of 15 years. The private company still has 13 years left out of its original 25-year contract. The Ohio Controlling Board voted to expand the contract by 15 years. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost wanted the board to postpone voting and talk about how Jobs Ohio can better serve state residents. Jobs Ohio uses money from state liquor sales to fund its projects that stimulate Ohio's economy. That's why DeWine wants to extend the contract.
Former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard was confirmed as the Director of National Intelligence in a 52-48 Senate vote. Gabbard is a military veteran and served as a representative for Hawaii's 2nd District in Congress from 2013 to 2021. She is the latest addition to President Trump's cabinet. Her confirmation comes as the Senate voted to end the filibuster, slowing RFK Jr.'s confirmation hearing to serve as Trump's health secretary.
We expect all Republicans to vote to stay tough and strong, vote for President Trump's nominees so we can get to work and continue to work very hard to implement this president's agenda.
Gabbard is the latest of the 14 members of Trump's cabinet. There are still 8 nominees yet to be confirmed. Government workers were handed termination notices last night, putting dozens out of work. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau let go of probationary employees. This comes as a response to Trump administration's crackdown on the watchdog group and an order, for employees to stop working. 2 longtime CFPB officials resigned after the termination notices were sent out. The cost of living is skyrocketing along with interest rates. Ivan Rodriguez has details on what the Federal Reserve and Congress are going to do about it.
The January Consumer Price Index coming in hot.
On just about every metric, this was a miss with respect to what we were looking for in this main gauge of inflation at the retail level.
Egg prices shot up 15.2% from December to January, the fastest increase that index has seen since 2015, according to the report. But it's not just eggs.
You had food, you had energy, you have shelter, you have used cars, you have motor vehicle insurance. This report indicates that inflation trends are worsening.
Inflation now moving in the opposite direction of the Federal Reserve's 2% target.
We want to make more progress on inflation, and we think our policy rate is in a good place.
During 2 days of congressional testimony, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said officials aren't in a hurry to reduce interest rates further, not what investors and potential home buyers were hoping to hear.
Once we lower rates and kind of rates return to a lower level, mortgage rates will come down. I don't know when that'll happen.
Although the Fed doesn't directly control mortgage rates, it does influence them. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage now averages 6.89%, according to Freddie Mac. For now, bank rates Mark Hamrick suggests Americans focus on saving.
One of the benefits of a high interest rate environment is that one can still command a decent return on savings in a high yield savings account that surpasses the recent rate of inflation.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
The COVID-19 pandemic was 5 years ago, but its effects are still seen throughout the nation's education system. A report from top universities looks at how learning has been altered since the pandemic. The findings show most students were about half a year behind compared to where students were in 2019. In some states, including Maine and Vermont, students have fallen back a year. Chronic absenteeism is a large factor for this overall downward trend. The scholars say summer school and after-school tutoring can help improve school performance. A new study on workers finds those with chronic health conditions don't officially report them to their employer. That accounts for about 60% of the U.S. workers who might have heart disease or diabetes. A poll from Harvard shows workers are afraid their health problems could affect their career, while 25% of workers say their condition caused them to miss out on a promotion. It's Congenital Heart Defect Awareness Week. The CDC says a baby with a heart defect is born every 15 minutes and severity ranges, but early detection is critical. Mandy Gaither explains why and what factors increase the risk of a congenital heart defect developing.
It's a problem present at birth, affecting the structure of a baby's heart. Congenital heart defects range substantially from mild to severe.
And so really kind of seeing someone that has the expertise and the ability to differentiate between the two is important.
Dr. Glenn Iannucci with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says initial symptoms may only be an extra sound or murmur found during a cardiac physical exam, or there may be an abnormality found on an x-ray. Some heart defects can also be found during pregnancy through a special type of ultrasound called a fetal echocardiogram.
But other signs can be kind of trouble feeding, persistent fast breathing, and poor weight gain in babies in particular.
The exact cause of most heart defects isn't fully known, but there are things that increase risk, including the mother having certain pre-existing conditions like diabetes or obesity, a family history of congenital heart defects, smoking during pregnancy, or certain medications taken during pregnancy.
If you know kind of what you're dealing with at the beginning, then really you can often be in front of the patient even developing symptoms.
Even though many heart defects aren't cured, advancements in care and treatments have led to longer and healthier lives than those who have them.
There are a wide variety of treatments that can include surgery, but can also include some non-invasive approaches.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Congenital heart defects may not be found until later in life, but doctors say there are signs someone may have underlying heart condition, including chest pain with activity and fainting spells.
Coming up, this week's bout of winter storms have had major consequences across the country. As the storms move west, thousands prepare for the worst in the wake of the Palisades fires.
And a California man strikes back to his hobby after battling cancer.
Another round of rain and snow is on the way. Stick around to find out more.
Millions of black people have migrated to the United States from Africa and the Caribbean. These immigrants redefined what it means to be black in America.
The United States becomes a shining beacon. People from all over the world thought, I'm going to replant my roots.
I just love it in America. This is the best country for a black person to be successful.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
Next time on Ken Burns' American Stories.
Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free.
The Statue of Liberty.
And you look up and you say, my God. And you feel something, I think, really much more than just being an American. You feel the importance of being human.
Next time on Ken Burns' American Stories.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
Hey you! We know what you did. And we think you're just the most magnificent person ever. Because you support public television. And you did it by donating your car to our station. Vehicle donations like yours bring significant funding to the quality news and programming you turn to every day. So now, it's time to celebrate you and all of our supporters that keep us going.
As the U.S. continues to weather from a week of extreme winter conditions, Southern California is on deck for what's next. Soon to be hit by the most significant storm there in more than a year, it's striking fears of life-threatening debris flows and mudslides in fire-scarred areas in and around Los Angeles. Laura Aguirre has the details on how some residents and county officials are preparing.
I think everybody needs to be aware and ready.
Ready for the massive third wave of a powerful winter blitz that's brought snow, ice, rain, flash flooding, and power outages to much of the central and eastern U.S. since Tuesday. In a matter of hours, those same conditions are expected to envelop most of the western half of the nation through Saturday. And in Southern California, that poses an especially dangerous threat.
The whole hillside behind me has been denuded from the fire, and it already slid a little bit, and now we're preparing that it's going to slide a whole bunch more.
Residents in fire-scarred areas around Los Angeles County are bracing for the worst. Many are sandbagging and shoring up gaps in plastic barriers.
If you are living in a location where there is a slope behind your house and it is burned, we want to hear from you.
LA County officials today urging those in potential mudslide zones to reach out so crews can assess risk and install temporary debris flow barriers before the storm hits. For weeks, the state has been cleaning and expanding stormwater and debris drainage systems along with other preparations, and evacuation orders have been issued in high-risk areas.
Storms can bring sudden and severe conditions that make staying back home extremely risky.
Damaging high wind gusts are also expected.
Make sure your flashlights have good batteries in them, and check your generators and your pumps that they're all working. And they usually recommend 3-day supply of food and water for your family.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
It's been an extremely active weather year so far, and even a past week here in Athens, it has been active. Taking a look over the past 24 hours, we have had a system move through, and that has really been par for the course over the past month or so this year so far. This brought snow and rain with it, along with colder temperatures, but a warm front did move through, which has allowed for us to start to convert from snow to rain. Taking a look, we still have some ice in the area, and that's moving out, and that's going to stay clear for us as we move into Thursday and Friday, but it will return on Saturday. Currently, we are looking at, again, that precipitation in the area with temperatures at 36 degrees. Tonight, it will be slightly warmer with the temperatures at 39 degrees, and that's because that warm front moved through. But we will have that rain in the area, so it really won't be a very pleasant night until we get to tomorrow. Taking a look, you can see how this warm air moved up from the south, and that's what helped us improve our temperatures a little bit, as opposed to last night when we had that snow in the area, and those temperatures sitting at about 30 degrees. Taking a look at tomorrow, there is something interesting with these temperatures. Now we have a high of 41, but that is going to be seen at about 8, 9 in the morning, and then we're going to have a cold front move through, and that's when you're going to see those temperatures sit at 17 degrees. So it's not like that to normally have your high temperature be so early in the morning. Typically you see that 3, 4 o'clock, but again, because of that cold front, we're going to see those temperatures start to dip off. But again, no precipitation, so it will be a little calmer, which is going to be a nice change of pace for us. Again, taking a look at tomorrow, we have that cold front move through, and that's going to cool off our temperatures, but this area of high pressure that starts to move in from the center of the country is going to help clear our skies, but that is also going to help further cool our temperatures, and that's going to help dip our temperatures well into into the teens and 20s. Tomorrow night, we still have a little bit of precipitation in the form of mixed ice rain mix, but that will again be very few far in between. As we move into Friday, nothing really to speak of, which is nice if you have any plans for Valentine's Day. It will be a little chilly, but other than that, it will be a pretty pleasant day as we have temperatures sitting at about 15, 20 degrees, but it won't be anything like this beginning of this week. Taking a look at Saturday, this is when it starts to get interesting. This is a little bit further out, but we do have some rain that is going to be in the area throughout the weekend. It's really too far out to tell exactly how much or when it's going to stop, but it looks like it's going to stay the entire weekend before we have some cold weather move into the area on Sunday, and that is going to bring with it some high wind speeds, so be on the lookout for that as you begin your commute next week. Taking a look now at Tuesday, we see our temperatures begin to rebound a little bit, but again, due to that wind, we're going to have temperatures sitting at 14 degrees on Monday and Tuesday, 21 on Wednesday, but we start to see possibly some more snow in the area. So we're all over the place in terms of temperatures, precipitation. We really have a real mixed bag over the next 7 days, so make sure to keep checking your weather apps.
So what I'm hearing, Steve, is all this pretty snow in Athens is going to be turning into slush pretty soon.
Yeah,
here.
Definitely. It's not going to be too nice to look at like it was this morning. I know I enjoyed my walk to class a little bit more because it was sitting so nicely on the trees, but it's not going to last.
Yeah. Sully, you a big fan of the snow out here?
I'll be honest, I feel like I'm a fan of it for like a week, and then I'm just kind of tired of it. Just like, I feel like I'm one of those people where I'll slip like 5 times when I'm walking out of my apartment in the morning, and I'm just like I'm way too prone to like slipping and then falling over. But I don't know. I feel like if it's cold, I'd rather it be snowing. So
that's very true point.
Yeah. So, when I'm walking down those hills and everything too, I'm moving real slow the past few days, but I won't have to do that coming up here soon. So.
Next in sports, I'm live at Athens High School as the Lady Bulldogs prepare to host their first round tournament matchup. And we'll take a look around the region at some of the other tournament games on the schedule for both tonight and tomorrow.
I don't have any plans this evening.
I'll put the kettle on. I'm getting all hot and bothered.
There's never a dull moment.
I cannot trust anyone else with this. Well, we ladies must stick together.
The birds are singing and I'm married to the most beautiful woman in the world.
How about a British sitcom about 2 women?
This is good.
We're working.
Sunday on WOUB.
I was born for duty, not happiness. You are the mother of France. You're stronger than you know.
The economy is hanging by a thread.
Let me help you.
You have no understanding of politics. You have done enough to the crown.
Reputation is everything. Destroy ours.
There's danger everywhere. No one can be trusted. I will get us out of this mess.
In the 4th year of Changing Planet, we are focusing on 2 of the largest river restoration projects ever attempted.
What?
One urban.
The River Seine is undergoing a colossal detox.
One wild and remote.
These dams will be completely gone within a matter of months.
Everyone knows there's hope. It's big.
These are stories of ambition and action for our changing planet.
Killer whales are up at 11 o'clock.
Oh my gosh, there they are.
Killer whales are one of the most successful predators on the planet.
Here they come, here they come. This is going to be amazing.
But one tiny group in Antarctica hunts like no others.
Only a handful of people on this planet have actually seen that behavior. We're off to a pretty magical start.
Tonight at 8 on WOUB.
Welcome to sports. I'm Zachary Knight, live at Athens High School to break down some of the girls' tournament games from across the region. Here, the Athens Lady Bulldogs are preparing to host their first-round tournament matchup after coming off of back-to-back conference titles. The girls clinched the title outright with last Thursday's win against Nelsonville York, and despite a loss to Circleville on Saturday, they'll likely still have some momentum coming into this one. Speaking of Circleville, they're a familiar opponent for the Bulldogs from last year's tournament. Athens fell to the Tigers in the district semifinal last year, and that game is proving to be the hump the Lady Bulldogs are trying to get over. With a win against 6th seed Chillicothe tonight, Athens will be back in the district semifinal against the Unioto Shermans on Saturday. Along with the Bulldogs, the Vinton County Vikings will also have their first-round game tonight in South Point. The Vikings finished 4th in the TVC Ohio and are coming off of 3 wins to end their season. Their opponent in South Point had a rough end to their season, only winning 1 of their last 5 games. The Vikings will tip off at 7 o'clock in South Point. The Trimble Lady Tomcats also have a first-round game tonight, this time at home. They'll be hosting 12-seed Sciotaville East, a team that hasn't picked up a win since January 15th. The Tomcats finished 4th in the TVC Hawking and wrapped up their season with 12 wins. Tip-off for that one is also scheduled for 7 p.m. Finally, tonight, we'll have the 12-seeded Eastern Eagles at Portsmouth West. The Eagles have had a tough season, but have begun to build some momentum for next year. They're coming off of a competitive game against the Southern Tornadoes and a win over the Megs Marauders last week. Tip-off for that one is in Portsmouth at 7. Now, those games aren't the only ones happening this week for the tournament. Let's take a look at some of the upcoming games for tomorrow. I just talked about the Megs Marauders and their loss to Eastern last week, and that loss is unfortunately one of many for the Eagles. Or for the Marauders, excuse me. They weren't able to pick up any wins in conference and only got 1 win all season. They'll be at Minford tomorrow night for a 7 o'clock tip-off. The Nelsonville York Buckeyes will also be playing tomorrow night, taking a long trip down to see Ripley Union. They ended up 5th in the TVC Ohio, a drop-off from last year when they finished in 2nd. Tip-off for that one will be at Ripley Union at 7 p.m. The final opening round game for this week will be the Alexander Spartans, who will host the Southeastern Panthers tomorrow night. Alexander finished 2nd in TVC play and have proven themselves as a defensive powerhouse. The young team will also be tipping off at 7 p.m. tomorrow. With a packed slate tonight and tomorrow, be sure to keep an eye on Hardwood Heroes socials for updates from across the region. You can catch a full breakdown on all of these games on WOUB and the WOUB YouTube channel at 11 p.m. on Saturday night. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Zachary Knight, live in Athens.
Still ahead, a local Wisconsin community is honoring a late bar owner by keeping his unique winter tradition alive.
In Egypt, a remarkable discovery.
We are making history.
A secret cemetery.
We found a group of coffins.
With an untouched tomb. Remnants of a kingdom ruled by pharaohs from the south. In an age when women wielded great power.
Women were highly privileged.
This is a unique representation of female power.
Egypt's tombs of Amun on Nova.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
I hear the echoes all through the meadows. Breathe in and let go. That sweet surrender. I've been running, running, running all through the night. You can knock me down, but I've got my will to survive. Rise up, rise up, rise up.
Together, we can make real change happen.
It's time to look at our home in a whole new way. Imagine carbon stored in nature on an incredible scale. Looking after it is essential, because our future depends on the future of nature.
A California man is not letting his age strike him out of a game of bowling. 87-year-old Russ Triano bowled a perfect game. He started bowling with his kids over 50 years ago, and his game really started picking up the pace once he played with a good friend, until he had to slow his roll after getting diagnosed with cancer 8 years ago. Triano says getting his skills back to where they were before the illness was tough, but he's grateful to be active again.
Let's get out and do something. And a senior league like they have here is great for just a little exercise, a little social, and life is a lot more pleasant, I think.
Triano bowls every Tuesday with a senior group and every Wednesday with a competitive league. He says he loves the competition and the people he bowls with. Even though Triano hit a big milestone, Triano says he isn't planning on slowing his roll anytime soon.
The Jerry Shoe Jump-In returns to Pickerel, Wisconsin, as residents keep the lake bar owner's tradition alive. Over the weekend, dozens of people gathered for the annual Polar Plunge, where they jump into the freezing waters of Pickerel Lake with their snowmobiles. The event was started by Jerry Shoe in 1988 and has been kept alive thanks to his family and friends.
We get phone calls from people 30 miles away thanking us for having this because it brings people into their area. And a lot of times, that's what pulls them through the winter. And I love them when they come. They're repeat customers. And it's always, hi, how you doing? How you been? Haven't seen you in a year, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's nice to catch up.
And for those worries, the coordinators did confirm that a volunteer crew is on site to take care of machines that need pulled out.
I don't know about you guys, but would you guys ever participate in something like that? Just like driving a snowmobile into like a polar plunge like that? I mean, it seems fun maybe for like a second until you're actually in the water. Then you might be like second guessing your decision. So
yeah, I don't even think I'd think about it. It makes me a little nervous. You know, one, it's super cold. Two, the snowmobile in the water. Like, thankfully they have the crews over there, you know, to help everybody. Exactly. It seems like really cool. But gosh, that's one of the more interesting ones I've seen.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. I was laughing the whole time when I was looking at the screen right there. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing that. But
yeah. Well, I mean, it must be cold for them to be able to do that. But here, we don't necessarily have those cold temperatures sticking around. As tomorrow, we're looking at temperatures as high as 41 degrees before we get some rain and snow in the area on Saturday and Sunday, before we start to see temperatures dip back off on Monday. And that'll start to set the tone for the beginning of next week. So be on the lookout for that.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for some nicer weather to come around here soon.
Absolutely. 100%.
All right, well, that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you guys for watching.
And stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.
We're on the precipice of a great discovery.